my website right now and download my free course on alternate picking mastery. It contains 5 essential exercises that will take you to alternate picking mastery faster than you can imagine. And then I've included my method of how to lay out a practice plan in just 1 to 2 minutes that will absolutely boost your results like nothing you ever tried before. So go download it right now. It's free. Improvisation. I've decided to create a couple of videos about that subject because most people really are confused about it. We're taught that, you learn a couple of licks or lines or scales and stuff like that, and then you just start being creative with it, right? And what does that mean, being creative with it? And that's the first one we're going to look at. And I'm going to give you the perfect solution or the solution to the problem of why do I seem to bore myself when I play? I play solos and I seem to just keep doing the same thing over and over again. And so what is improvisation? Well, basically it's like dreaming. Imagine your brain is just a vast field of different little fields like boxes, and those boxes have different boxes around them. And so if I say apple, and you say, what does that remind you of instantly? You might say oranges. That's the first thing that pops into your head. And when you say oranges, it reminds me of my grandma because she had an orange tree right outside her house, perhaps. She's living down south, obviously, not in Denmark. And so I say grandma to you, and what do you think of? Well, you think about potatoes because she made the best whatever, right? So, and what is that? What is happening there, actually? Well, what's happening is that every single thing in your brain, whether it be oranges or apples or house or every single word, every single concept reminds you potentially of different concepts that are just around it. So imagine that field. You have a box here, and around that box you have several other boxes like apple, orange, and around orange you have other boxes as well. And so you jump from little box to another box, and that's how it is to dream, right? You think about your father because of some other thing, and then your father reminds you of, bam, something else, and then that reminds you of that, and that's your dream. That's why it takes the most incredible turns and twists, and that's just basically just taking a boat around your associations in your brain, and that creates these weird stories that how does that relate to that? And you might ask yourself, because some people say, oh, I'm analyzing my dreams to figure out what they mean. Well, basically, it's quite random, but you could ask yourself, why does father remind me of truck, right? That's an interesting thing. It could remind me of, of candy, whatever, but it reminds me of truck. Why does truck remind me of, running across the red light, right? Why is that? Why? But that's how far you get, in my perspective, actually, with that. But so when we improvise, when you're running around in circles all the time, trying to play something, and you keep playing the same freaking notes, bending the same note all the time, and you're bored out of your mind, well, what is actually happening? Well, you're just, you have 4 boxes. That's one problem, right? You have too few boxes. You got 4 or 5, and you keep orange, apple, grandma potatoes, orange, apple, and at some point you get pretty bored with that. So you need some more boxes. You need to learn some more licks. You need to have some more ideas, like sliding on one string. That's an idea that you could go into and combine with something else. So that's one solution, but that might not be your problem. You might know 100 licks, right? But you're still bored with yourself because you only play 3 or 4. You can't remember everything. And that's the problem I really wanted to address in this video. You need to constantly, with your conscious mind, rediscover what you know all the time. You need to, when the music is not playing, you need to sit down. Okay, what do I know? What could I do, right? And then carve out a path for yourself. That's one really effective solution, right? I might say, okay, it's like I'm always here in this position, right? Okay, let me see. Okay, could I go up to the next position, right? Okay, let me mark that out for me. Just practice that. And what happens up here? Oh, I could use perhaps I know the minor triad as well. I know that fits right into the C minor pentatonic. Maybe I could play around with that up here. Okay, now I got some. Instead of your brain just associating from one thing to another unconsciously, now you have a conscious focus of using, you know, areas of the fretboard, an arpeggio. Let's just try that. You know, so I'm down here, and then I set the second position, and then and suddenly I have something that inspires me because now I'm playing something new. And that new thing, you know, reminds me of other stuff I can do. So instead of going back and forth between apples and oranges and grandma, you suddenly jump out of that circle of that loop into something else, and that reminds you of something else you actually know that you've forgotten about, right? The brain has, you know, a tendency to do that because it loves familiarity. It loves to do what it knows. So you have to constantly push out of your comfort zone, as we call it sometimes, right? Where you're comfortable totally. Another thing, like, could be introduce just an idea. It doesn't have to be a lick, but introduce an idea like, let's play on one string and let's just count, you know, mark that out. Right? Just doing that and putting that as a demand on yourself to play on one string will push you out of that apples and oranges again, right? Suddenly, there's an idea here, and it's conscious, and you're using it when you improvise, and that pushes you out of it again. So if you have a whole set of songs, like you have to play solo over 12 different songs, to avoid just playing the same stuff, using the same blues scale in the same position all the time, you could say, okay, what could I create here? One cool idea per solo that you are going to force yourself to use when you solo. Say the first song, I'm going to go with the minor arpeggio right here in this position. Or I'm going to, you know, do the one string thing. Or I'm going to use double stops in, you know, right, or if it's blues. In this solo, I'm going to use the Jimi Hendrix kind of. Right? Whatever that is. But you know, come up with an idea and then focus on it when you play the solo. It's going to inspire you because what happens is you take that little circle of going back and forth between potatoes and apples and you push out of it in different ways. So that's really the way to make sure that you don't get bored with yourself. And you have to do this consciously, right? Everyone has. So do it. Subscribe for more free videos. Do it. Do it now. Do it.